Hello guys, you're here again with me for our inferential reading course. Today, I'm going to give you something else which most of you are already familiar with. This will be an alternative to the essay that you learned about last week, which is the critique essay. Now, I'm going to take you back to 2 weeks ago when we learned about the meaning of a text. We learned that the meaning of a text comes from a lot of things, from the main idea, from the audience, the author, and the situation. Now, I'm going to take you back there and give that kind of analysis its actual name. It's called the rhetorical analysis. That's what it actually is called. What is a rhetorical analysis? Rhetorical analysis is an analysis on how meaning happens in a text by seeing the text situation. We are analyzing the situation of a text. And what does that situation consist of? Here, as you have learned 2 weeks ago, the meaning of a text comes from a lot of things. First of all, it's a combination of the main argument, the type of text or the genre, and then the audience, and many other things, including the purpose and the underlying assumption. These are the elements of meaning, or these are the rhetorical elements of a text. And why do we need to know all these elements? We need to know this and make our judgment of this in order to know the quality of a text. If we know all these elements of a text, then we know whether the text is trustworthy, whether the text is reliable, or whether the text is misleading, or whether the text has a hidden agenda. These are what you do when you write a rhetorical analysis. Now, what makes it slightly different than when you learned it the first time is that now you will need to make an argument based on all these elements. For example, you read a text about veganism in India. You try to find the main argument of that text. For example, the argument is during the pandemic, vegan industry is increasing and it affects the economy of Indian people because the Indian economy relies a lot on dairy products. So that's the main argument. And then you try to find the type of text. What kind of text is it? Is it an argumentative text, or is it just a news story text, or is it just a descriptive text, and so on? So you find the type of text. And then based on the publication, the style of writing, you try to find out what kind of audience is targeted by the text. Is it ordinary people? Is it professionals? Is it children, and so on? After you find out the audience, you try to also find the purpose of the writer. Why does this author write this? Does this author want to entertain people with that text? Or does this author want to move people with the text? Or does it simply want to inform people? And then finally, you try to find the underlying assumption. Probably the underlying assumption is that India's economy relies a lot on dairy products and meat. So the industry should stay that way. It should not be troubled by others. That's probably the underlying assumption. It depends on you. Now, based on those pieces of information, you try to make an argument. What kind of argument can you make? Maybe the text is a powerful way of informing us about what is now happening in India. That's a possible argument. Another argument is that the text is not really strong because it doesn't tell us many details about the meat industry in India. Or maybe you can also make another argument based on all of these bits of information. So that's how it will be different from the previous one, from when you started learning it. This time, you don't just write down the main arguments, the type of text, the audience, but you need to make a summary of all this and make an argument of your own. And that's what we now call the rhetorical analysis. It's slightly different from the critical analysis that I presented to you last week. In the critical analysis, you make an argument based on any parts of the text that you find important to discuss, that you find most appealing, that is most interesting. This time, in rhetorical analysis, you make an argument based on all of the elements of the text, all of the rhetorical elements of the text. Another difference is that in critical analysis, you can discuss about anything. You can make any argument about any aspects of the text. In rhetorical analysis, now, you will need to make an argument about the quality of the text. I hope this is clear enough to show you the differences between the critical analysis and rhetorical analysis. Now, what I want to emphasize here is that you can use either a critical analysis or a rhetorical analysis to write for your chapter, for your big quiz too. However, I will provide the text for you. I give you an article about returning to campus after coronavirus, and you can choose to write a critical analysis or a rhetorical analysis essay. I guess that's all, and please let me know if you have any question about this. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day and see you next week. Bye.